These are the plaintiffs, Michael and Angela Mason. Michael says he and his wife hired the defendant to conduct a home inspection on a house they ended up buying. The defendant failed to detect a major problem with the electrical panel, and it seems there had been a fire of some sort because several of the connectors had been burnt. In fact, the burnt areas were covered with metal plates to hide the damage, and the defendant didn't detect this. Now they're out a whole heap of money due to his ineptness. They're suing for $2,200, the cost of a new electrical panel. This is the defendant, David Polo. He says he's been a home inspector for 27 years and knows a thing or two about detecting problems in a house. Thank you very much. He inspected a home for the plaintiff, and a year later they call him complaining about their electrical panel. He isn't allowed to dismantle an electrical panel because it's dangerous and he could get electrocuted. No inspector could have done anything more than he did. He takes his job seriously, and he's sorry, but he made no mistakes on the job and thinks the judge will agree. He's accused of shocking a customer.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to inspect the home they were buying. Says the defendant overlooked a major electrical problem. But the defendant says he did everything he could and everything any other inspector would do. It's in the case of Breaker. He hardly knew her.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Michael Mason and Angela Mason?
Yes.
Yes.
You're suing David Polo and Polo and Associates Home Inspection. That's your company?
Yes.
Because he inspected your home before you bought it, and according to you, there are major electrical problems that he did not catch. Tell me what's going on.
That is correct. We bought the home in 2010. We had a storm in October of 2011, and we lost power. When we lost power, we decided to put a generator on the box, the panel. I had a contractor, electrical contractor, come out to install the generator panel. And when he opened the box, my electric panel, he opened the box up. He saw that there were several breakers that had been burnt inside the box. He asked me if I had a fire in the box. And I says, no, we had no problems with the box. And he says, well, the box might have been burnt. The burns might have been done before.
Might have been done before?
Might have been done before,
But
yes.
might have been done after?
He says if it was done after, your whole garage would have been on fire. When you look at, I brought pictures. When you look at the area that was burnt.
Right. These are areas that you can see were burned if you did what? Because obviously you couldn't just look at it and see burned. You'd have to do what? Flip off the plastics?
Well, yes. Well, when the electrician came, he pulled off a metal plate that was on top of this breaker.
So it's one particular breaker?
Yes.
And so your premise is that he has to pay you for the cost of an entire new electrical panel because he missed this?
Yes.
What evidence do you have that this is something that was there when you closed on the house a year earlier?
The only evidence I have is from the electrician.
Yeah, let me see what you have from the electrician.
This is
Just the email from Steve.
And this is his email describing the whole breaker panel.
Okay, let me hear from you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I've been in business a little while. And,
What's a little while?
Well, I've been in this industry my whole life, about 27 years.
Right? And how long have you been doing inspections?
Home inspections, 15.
Okay, so when you do the inspection, do you, first of all, have you seen the pictures or no?
No, I know nothing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't seen anything.
Your Honor,
Just a moment, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. That will be yours. Thanks. Okay, well, yeah, once again, I can tell you, this certainly wasn't present or visible the day of the inspection.
Okay, but that's my question, present or visible. In other words, what is it that you folks do, people in your industry do when they're checking the electrical?
In regard to the panel box, what we're required to do is take off the panel, take off the cover, assuming it's not going to be hazardous to it or us.
Okay, when you take off the cover, what does that mean?
I take off the cover and the breakers are visible. Pretty much what you're seeing there.
Okay,
Yes.
so
All
the
the
cover's
breakers.
off of this one.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, but when you were there was something here. right? There were 2 more breakers there covering this.
Well,
No.
this inspection was about 2 years ago. What I can tell you is that.
Well, wouldn't you have noted it if there was something like this? You would have noted it, right?
By all means, I would have.
And it's not noted in the report,
Right. I would have noted it. if
And you
that-
agree that your guy took out whatever was there?
Yes, there was a plastic cover over it.
A plastic cover with breakers, or just a plastic cover?
Just a plastic cover. You cannot put breakers in that slot
Because
it's burnt and they don't fit.
So then, what right do you have to assume that you could have put breakers in that spot?
Because how does it burn? I
don't know. Well, how's it his fault that it's burned? You told me to look at the form that you had from your guy, and that I would see that it was burnt at the time of the inspection. I don't see that from the form from your guy. Your guy is just saying install a new panel due to burnt bus bar and breakers. That's all your guy says. Your guy said, apparently everything else is working just fine. It's just that you need these breakers to put in a generator.
And we emailed Polo
Now, what
Associates.
evidence do you have it's his fault that he missed something? The fact that there was a little plastic over it and he had a responsibility to remove that plastic? What is your theory?
Well, that's my theory, yes, is that when you do a home inspection and you pull off that cover, you notice right away that that plastic shouldn't be there. If that slot is empty, it should just be empty. And I can go ahead and put a breaker in there and then use it to power something else in the house. But because that cover was there, it should have been taken off to see what's behind it, because on a normal box, you don't have that.
Do you have a picture of what was there before your guy messed with it?
Unfortunately, no. When Steve came...
How do I know it didn't have breakers that just, aren't usable, that we discover aren't usable once we remove them? How do I know what it looked like? You don't have pictures from the home inspection, do you?
No, I don't. But
if you had seen just a plastic cover on 2 of the breakers, just a plastic cover, would you have inspected behind it?
No, but I would have put that in the report that there's a cover covering breakers.
Right.
Could be any kind of
here's what we need. Okay, if you want him to pay you $2,000 something, you have to prove that he has to pay you $2,000 something. You can't just say, "Hey, you got insurance?" Yeah, that's not how it works. You have to be able to prove that he did something wrong, like. The standard in the industry is that you take apart the electrical panel,
Yes.
which you disclaim. You say that is absolutely not the
I
standard.
can show you that information.
Show me that information. That according to you, the standard in the industry is not that you take apart an electrical panel.
No, that's
let's put that to a side. Well, you're going to show me that, but let's put that to a side. What evidence do you have that a year later, it was there a year earlier? You said that your electrical guy says that it might be. First, you say in your complaint that your electrical guy said it was. Now you're saying in your testimony your electrical guy said it might be. And now I'm looking at what your electrical guy says, and he doesn't say any of those things.
Well,
what evidence do you have?
I think there's just, I might have said or whatever. But what I'm saying...
Show me some proof that someone says it was there a year ago.
I don't have...
If you don't have proof, then you can't pin it on him. How are you going to pin it on him? Why is it his fault? If you can prove through no one, you said your electrical guy would say that. Why isn't he saying that?
Why isn't he saying that it was there prior?
Yeah.
So the problem surfaces a year later. Is this plaintiff out of luck?
Well, the problem is that the defendant or the plaintiff is just screwing up because they probably broke it at this point.
So you think they did and the inspector didn't? Anybody here think that this plaintiff has a case that he should be able to sue a year later?
No.
I think you guys are all right. Even the dog going inside the courtroom.
Nothing in this section shall be construed to require a home inspector to insert any tool, probe, or testing device inside electrical panels. And this is the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety Home Inspection Advisory Committee. Okay. It's not looking good, folks. Okay, I'm sorry that you're in the situation that you find yourselves in, but it certainly does not appear to be his fault that you find yourself in that situation. When you come to court as a plaintiff, you have to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that there is liability on the other person's part. You have to prove to me that he did something wrong, and you can't prove to me he did anything wrong. His evidence proves he's not even supposed to probe, but you can't even prove that there's evidence that that was there a year earlier. You're looking for a deep pocket, and that's not how court works. Verdict for the defendant.
Both sides, just hold on right there, please.
All right, so the plaintiff's unable to prove the case. You understand why the judge had to rule the way she did?
Yes, I understand how she saw it, but I'm not an electrician, so how do I take loose a box? I don't understand. Was I supposed to go out there and inspect the box after an inspector? I'm not an electrical inspector, so I don't know what to look for. When I had an electrician come, the first thing he says is, Mike, there was a problem here. Mm-hmm. And he says to me, if it was during the storm, the whole house would have been on fire. So, well, I don't understand that. If a breaker catches on fire, it's something that had to be put out.
Right. So, all right. Well, I'm just unable to pin it on him with the proof, unfortunately for you. All right. So step on in here. The inspector comes out. Was this about money for you? Was this about your reputation? What?
Principal reputation. I hold nothing against them. It's just that I make a living from their referrals. The last thing I'm going to do is not report something that's present the day of the inspection.
Well, you could miss something.
Anything's possible, but I didn't miss that.
Harvey?
So here's the thing. When you hire an inspector or somebody like that, they're not guaranteeing that they're going to find everything. They are only required to use the professionalism that people in that community, other inspectors, would do when they inspect a job. If they're acting professionally and they do their job, that's all they're required to do.